following footage shows someone who's by himself inside a gym when something terrifying happens. Emily Ruiz, who suggested the video, writes, "Words cannot explain this disturbing footage. The person in the video had obtained this recording from the gym and sent it to a friend who we hear speaking in the video. This is what was captured."
Es que pasaron cosas muy extrañas, la madre.
¿Y qué le pasó, papi?
Hasta una máquina se movió. Vea, mire, explíqueme eso.
Sí,
vea,
eso
dos
porque
cuerdas
se
y...
mueve atrás.
Yo qué vas a ver, mamá, y la otra quieta. O sea, no podemos decir que es el aire, ni que hay ventilación, ni nada de esas vainas.
Eso es como
y en
encerrado.
plena luz del día, ¿quién dice que estas maricadas pasan en plena luz del día? No. Mire, la luz. Mire, mire. Mire, ahí. Mira eso. Mira eso.
Uy, ¿eso qué pasó? ¿Por qué eso se
esa
mueve?
Esa vaina es pesadísima, eso es pesadísimo.
¿Sí?
Sí, parece eso es una energía muy mala.
¡Ay, Dios mío! ¿Qué le pasó?
Mamá, mire.
No, Dios, no, no, eso no es normal.
Sí, yo sé
eso
que...
no es normal,
sí,
no.
ya sé.
Those who've seen the footage were left unsettled by this terrifying encounter. At the start of the video, we can see that someone or something is peeking at this person. This is something you might have missed. Now, it's worth mentioning that another camera had recorded this from a different angle. By looking at this specific footage, we can see that the facility has open windows. It could be that the wind from outside the room was causing the ropes to move on their own. But if that were the case, then other things in the room should have moved as well, especially the towel on the box, which appears light enough to move just a bit, but it doesn't. The wind could also explain the ball's movement, but mind you, this is a medicine ball. It would take more than just a gust of wind to be able to move something this heavy. But what's even more baffling about this footage is how the person gets dragged across the floor. It could be that he was doing this on his own, moving his body in such a way to make it seem as though he were being dragged. However, a closer look at this scene shows that he was jerked in a forceful manner, which is almost impossible to do on one's own. Other things in the video remain questionable, such as lights turning off on their own, or whatever this is. I'll leave it to you to come up with your own conclusion on this footage. Feel free to let me know what you think.
Do you guys remember the story a few months ago about Bill Gates buying up all the US farmland? Well, he's been getting busy again. Over the past few weeks, Gates has been quietly accumulating a massive $86 million position in a company called Ecolab, which he purchased through his LLC, Cascade Investments. This makes him one of the largest shareholders in the company. Now here's where it gets interesting. Ecolab specializes in water treatment using facilities and chemicals. And at the same time that Gates was building his position in the company, I discovered that a US congressman named Alan Lowenthal also started buying shares in the company. So I did some digging on Alan Lowenthal, and wouldn't you know it, he conveniently sits on the Committee for Infrastructure, Water Resources, and the Environment. This is the exact same industry that Ecolab is in. As if that wasn't enough, the EPA just announced new chemical standards for water that will require major investments into water treatment facilities. So as of now, I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this company. To see more data like this, check out my website and take care.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just going to be honest. There are so many better things to do than exercise.
It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable.
You are looking at incredibly rare footage that the House of Windsor has attempted to censor. Just prior to her coronation as Queen of England, the Princess Elizabeth was initiated into the Welsh Druid Order. The Queen wore a green robe to signify her rank in the order. Known as Vate or Ovate, the Vates had the role of seers, similar to the oracles of ancient Greece. It's very interesting to see these pictures because 99% of people out there assume the House of Windsor is a Christian royal family. This suggests otherwise.
I'm about to show you who Liz Truss is and what she represents. First on the list, she voted 12 times to stop charities campaigning during election time, so she voted against charities being able to give you information while she was trying to get elected. She voted against cheaper train tickets, and she voted against greater public control of bus services. She voted in favour of mass state surveillance on everything you do on the internet, every phone call you have, every text you send, and she voted for the companies to save that information in case the state ever wanted to see it. She voted 5 times in favour of phasing out secure tenancies for life for council tenants. She voted 19 times against measures to prevent climate change. She voted 2 times to sell England's state-owned forests to private companies. She voted 8 times for a reduction in the government funding for your local area. 8 times she voted against more money for your local area. She voted against giving your local council more power. She voted against restrictions charged by landlords and letting agents on tenants. She voted against the regulation of huge gambling companies. And of course, she voted against a mansion tax. She voted for cheaper tax for people selling their massive investments. But, and here's the kicker, she consistently voted for an increase in VAT. So she wants more tax on bread, milk and pasta, but less tax on people selling their mansions or their investments. At a time that we needed the state to have more compassion, we put someone in charge who seems to have none. I'm genuinely terrified.
When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information. John D. Rockefeller is duly credited as the founder of the pharmaceutical industry, and the reason that medical error is currently the 3rd leading cause of death in America. This is not an indictment against doctors. More than anyone, they are under the stranglehold of the single largest lobbying power in Washington. Every year, the pharmaceutical industry spends at least twice the amount as big oil to influence laws, policies, and public perception. Thanks to Mr. Rockefeller, the architect of American monopolies, no industry has more power over our lives than Big Pharma.
Understand politics, you think you understand political parties. You're all full of crap. You don't know what the Illuminati is. If you're Republican or you're Democrat, you're wrong. Why? It's this easy. It's called divide and conquer. That's why there's 2 parties and only 2. And they're controlled by the same people at the very top who belong to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group. They also belong to the Trilateral Commission, and you people don't even know what the hell that is. But if you did know, you would know that these are the people that control your world by making global policies that you never vote on, and by which parties both serve and belong to these organizations and control your world. Now, here's how it works. Really easy. Divide and conquer can only work if the people that are divided are not aware of the falsely created division. If you're not aware of it, then it works. If you know about it, then it don't work no more. If you have socialism without capitalism, it becomes communism. If you have capitalism without socialism, it becomes fascism. And it's just that easy. I love you. That's all you need to know. That's why Masonic symbols are all over your freaking money. But you don't pay any attention.
When someone like him tells you there's an island that they take influential people and they have sex with underage people, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then if you told me years later that the guy, Epstein, would, first of all, go to jail for doing that very thing, for having sex with underage people, then still be able to court people like Bill Gates and be able to have them and travel with them and go places with them, and then years later he would be suicided in some way where all the cameras stopped working and no one ever got brought to justice for it in any significant way, and that years after that, Ghislaine Maxwell would be arrested, that she would be tried, that she'd be convicted, and that the list of the people that engaged in this illegal activity would never be released. I would say that is a banana republic bullshit thing. That's not going to happen in the United States of America. People are going to be brought to justice. I don't care how powerful they are, but that's not the case.